Okay, give me a chance to explain why I think there will never be another Ethereum. Number one, let me just get it out the way. I have ETH, I have Sol, I have different. I may have some other tokens from different blockchains. For the most part, it's mostly ETH, and I would say a solid amount of Sol. So this isn't coming from a perspective of I am an ETH maxi only, and that's the only thing I touch. It's from the perspective of someone who I've been working in the Arbitrum ecosystem for a long time, the layer 2 ecosystem. I've early on done a lot of videos about different L1s back in the day. If you watch my channel, you can go back and take a look. I am appreciative of the different technologies and the different teams that come out in these different ecosystems and try something new. I love it. I think it's great. And more recently, as many of you may have seen if you're on crypto Twitter, a lot of the back and forth between communities has mostly been Ethereum and Solana. Now, this video is not me saying or trying to convince you that Ethereum is better than Solana or that Solana is better than Ethereum. It's more so to say that they're not competing even at the same level. I truly believe Solana competes mainly with other L2s like Base, like Arbitrum, like other ones. Whereas Ethereum, similar to Bitcoin, does not have proper competition. And by that I mean it's because Bitcoin, for example, it's digital gold. Everyone looks at it as like this kind of like the face of cryptocurrency, right? The face of, your standalone blockchain. And like digital gold, people say, right? We can debate that moniker today since gold has gone up so much and Bitcoin hasn't really. But I digress. Bitcoin, there's no competition to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. Ethereum for a long time, the past couple of years, a lot of you have seen the price action. It's been terrible. I think, to be honest, rightly so. I think there's been some things that had needed to get straight. I think the EF needed to take a much more hands-on approach than it did in the past. In a way, Ethereum was almost too decentralized for its own good, and I think they've fixed a lot since then. But the reason why I say Ethereum is in a league of its own is because there are no other ecosystems or chains in crypto that people think it's worth building their entire own ecosystems, their entire own networks on top of, other than Ethereum. And even sometimes Bitcoin, but most of those tend to not make sense. You don't see people saying, hey, I'm going to launch my entire L2, my entire chain, my entire ecosystem on top of Solana. Solana at some point tried doing this with like network extensions and it just never hit the same. And I don't think anyone's doing those anymore. And similar to other chains. I mean, like Arbitrum does have L3s on top of it, but that's for other reasons, right? So more of what I'm saying is like, if you think of like Ethereum as let's just call it like a country, you can think of the L2s and the other ecosystems that live on it as cities within that country. Whereas Solana itself is just a city, for example. I'm mainly comparing the two just because that's what everyone likes to compare. You can insert Monad, insert Tempo, insert Mega ETH, whatever, insert any chain you want in place of Solana. It's the same thing. And I don't think enough people appreciate that. Like, yes, we're on crypto Twitter. We're talking about the fees and the speed and the this and the that. The reality is that Ethereum's moat is so freaking huge. Look at how many stablecoins are on Ethereum. Look at how much value, how much DeFi value, how much perps. Look at all these different things and how much of that stuff lives on Ethereum today. A lion's share of it. I think perps might be the only thing that Ethereum, is maybe losing to Hyperliquid and off-chain stuff. But I think Arbitrum is like top 3 in terms of perps right now, like behind those two. So I guess more of what I'm saying is that there will never be another Ethereum because it would be impossible unless, hear me out, it would be impossible to replicate the same amount of developer activity, the same amount of distribution that Ethereum has in terms of the most widely adopted virtual machine ever in all of crypto, while also staying decentralized, permissionless, uncontrolled by a central authority. It's impossible, right? I mean, tomorrow JP Morgan can come out with their own chain if they wanted to, for example, and just they could onboard everyone's balances into it, and it would be bigger than Ethereum, right? 100%. Visa could do the same thing. Stripe, right? Stripe has Tempo. They could all do the same thing, but it's not this. You still don't have the same hardness. You don't have the same decentralization. You don't have the same censorship resistance of it. And that's what makes Ethereum so freaking valuable. I think they put out a post last week, the Ethereum Foundation, and it got a lot of people pissed off. They were essentially saying crops is the most important thing to Ethereum today. Which means a combination of centralization resistance, I think open, permissionless, and stuff along that nature, right? People were pissed off that they were the Ethereum EF. My God, sorry. People were pissed off that the EF was focused on these kind of core pillars that they want Ethereum to continue to have and be the best at providing, versus saying, hey, we're going to get on board all of traditional finance. And that was the ironic part, dude, is that while everyone else is competing for traditional finance, and mind you, the Ethereum community does have Etherealize, which their whole vision of existing is to onboard traditional finance. The whole point is that no other chain can replicate the whole point of the purpose of having a blockchain is: censorship resistance, openness, decentralization, all that stuff. And what kills me is that we're at a point in crypto, in this industry, that people are annoyed at that. I get it. ETH price is not at all-time highs like it should be, in my opinion. But that doesn't mean that it should abandon its entire reason to exist. When the EF starts to replicate Solana, Arbitrum, or any other mandate that another ecosystem has that is not related to crops, which is centralization, resistance, the openness, the centralization, etc., when it's anything other than that, Ethereum has failed. So I think for that reason, there will never be another Ethereum. And if Ethereum were for to ever reason go out, then I think crypto will have officially lost the plot. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Am I full of shit? I'm just curious to hear people's thoughts. I don't know. I had a lot to talk about there. All right, peace.